Welcome back to What Can I Paint Next? Section A, Exercise 5. This is where we start looking at objects, the beginnings of still life. I think sometimes still life gets a bit hard done by. There's more to be done with it than just grouping an object and having a practice. You can actually get quite a bit out of it, and I want to sort of share that bit with you at the moment. So we're going to be doing exercise 5 like we did with the figure drawing. It's a noun, one noun. The object I've chosen is a clock. I've side lit it. I've put a velvet cover underneath to add texture. And it was the difference between the metallic surface and the velvet surface that I really wanted to look at. So we can start planning and thinking about our drawing using the good old planning sheet. Exercise 5 planning sheet. So let's have a look at what we're going to write. Object. The object is a clock. It's a brass clock. Brass clock. Sources. Set up in studio. Now that we're on to still life, I can actually set things up in front of me to try and have a go at. It's absolutely fine to work from photographs, but there's something a bit more personal about having the objects in front of you, collecting them, it's almost like collecting meanings of objects and arranging them together. If you are going to use somebody else's photographs, try and credit them or contact them and see if it's okay. If you take the photographs yourself, that's fine. I know a lot of people do collage work, and to a certain degree, when you're using photographs, it is like collaging ideas together. So yeah, when you choose your object, make sure it's lit from the side you want it to be lit from, and it matches the medium you want to work with. So, chosen the clock, it's set up in my studio, I'm ready to have a go with it. So, what materials am I going to use? I'm going to use the acrylic again. Raw umber, burnt sienna, crimson red, cadmium yellow, and titanium white. Oh, and ultramarine or blue. I think there's a lot of burnt sienna in this, especially with the covering underneath it. I'm going to try and get the softness of the velvet underneath with the harshness and the coldness of the brass on top. What surface? I'm actually using quite a small canvas. Not very big at all. It's just a small canvas because I want it to be quite an intimate little study of the clock. So let's just have a look at how big it actually is. And 20 centimetres by 30 centimetres. 20 centimetres by 30 centimetres. Time estimate. If I was just doing this pencil drawing, I'd probably say about an hour and a half. But because I'm going to go in with the colour, I'm going to say 3 hours. I really want to try and capture the solidity of the clock. Right, let's look at the fundamentals. So see if you can guess what numbers I'm going to put down, and I shall tell you what they are later. Line, the actual lines of the object are going to be important. The transition from one surface to another, that line is going to be important. The quality of the transition. The tone, because I've side-lit it, I think tone is actually really important in this. But I think the two most are going to be shape and texture. The shape of the clock and the texture of the velvet and the brass of the clock, the metallic of the clock. Those are the two things I'm going to try and capture. I've kept quite a neutral background at the moment. I don't want to get into things in the background, so I've just kept it dark grey. Colour, the colour of the brass is the colour of the brass. The colour of the velvet is the colour of the velvet. I haven't tried to do anything with the colours apart from keep them neutral, so that's not too bad. And composition, I need to actually pay attention to it to make sure the clock's the right size on the page or on the canvas, but that's it. I'm not trying to do any rules of thirds or golden section or putting flow into it or anything. I am just trying to do a small study of a clock. So these are the scores I've given. 2 for line, 4 for tone, because it is important but not ridiculously important. Shape and texture are the really important ones. Colour and composition, I have to pay attention to them, but they're not as important as the shape and the texture. I wonder if you had a guess at them being correct. What I do like to do when I'm trying to fit an object on a page exactly, evenly, is do a little sketch first, just to make sure everything's where it should be. I've got enough of a gap around the outside. Get all my tones in, recognise where the light's coming from, just make sure there's nothing sticking out anywhere that I could miss. It just gives you a little insight into where things are going to go on the page. Just a quick little sketch to get it started. So all we need to do now is get some paint out, get my canvas going, and I'll make a start on the painting. And you can watch along, and I'll see you in a bit. completed exercise 5, and this is the end result for me. My clock, I've put it at 5 o'clock. That's the time I decided on in the end, and I'm going to call it home time. I tried to really concentrate on getting the brass and the texture of the material underneath, but as a standalone piece, what I was really looking for was the idea of an object being the subject of the painting. One object as the subject, the noun, the starting point of the sentence. Same as we did with the figure, doing the same with objects going into still life. So in the next exercise 6, we're going to be going back into objects and adding some adjectives, making sure we can describe them and looking at ways of describing them using art as well. So thanks very much. I hope you enjoy your painting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.